One of the gotchas, I guess, in reporting is that if you give a student a C this semester and you give them a C next semester, how do you show that progress or growth has been made? You know that there has been progress because last year they were in year 3, this year they were in year 4. To get a C in year 4, you obviously need to know more than to get a C in year 3. So to go from a C to a C, most often in a graph it will be a horizontal line. But that's not actually fair to show to parents, because then that assumes that the student hasn't actually improved when in fact they've made, a year or a semester worth of learning. So what we're doing for some schools on GradExpert is we're giving the ability for a C from 2019 term 1, semester 1, to a C in 2019 semester 2 to actually show an upward line. It does mean that when you are graphing a student over time, and they've gone from a C to a C to a C to a C over 4 semesters, the graph of progress will actually show an upward trend instead of a flat line. And when you're showing that to parents, it's far more useful because they can see that there has been growth. Even though the student may be sitting on an E or a D for the last 4 semesters, they have actually been improving and learning. It's just that their letter hasn't moved. But because they've moved up through the years, they have actually increased their knowledge. Let me just see if I can bring that up in Port Designer. There we go. Actually, that's an example. I'll just do a print preview of that one. So what this is showing us is reading and viewing from 2019 semester 1 to semester 2 from a C to a C. And that means that the student has actually improved their knowledge but hasn't actually moved off a C. So when you're showing something like this to a parent on a report, they are now feeling like actually their child is actually learning. They might not have moved from a C to a B. Even going from a C to an E, the fact that you've gone into a new year level means they may have dropped down, but actually the graph shows that they are on an upward learning trend. These horizontal lines actually are a little bit misplaced because normally this would be the expected level. And the expected level is a C, and the expected level for the subsequent semester is is a C as well, which would be down here. Which means that as you go through the years, you can see that an E is below the expected level, but growth has still been made. So normally the expected level would be up here, and when parents look at that, they can see, oh, well, my child is actually below where they should be, but I can see that there has been some growth on that particular chart. So that's a really useful way of representing this information to parents. The reports that you're using now probably don't include too many graphs like this, but in terms of presenting this information to parents, showing it in a graphical format is always easier to understand than just looking at a page of numbers or letters. If you're not going to use the graphs, then certainly color coding some of the data would be useful, but then you also need to be careful of if it is an E or a D that you're giving the same students semester after semester, you don't just want to see red, 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 red. That's where a chart like this can actually make a big impact on the parents' view of how their children are going. So we're certainly not misleading anyone here, because you would expect the students, as they're moving up through the year levels, to be learning more and more. They just haven't moved off a particular level